Nintendo's going nuts with these updates recently. We had a Tetris 99 announcement for Ring Fit Adventure, or with Ring Fit Adventure. We had an epic Mario Maker 2 announcement last night, and now we have a meaty-looking Animal Crossing expansion coming up in just a few days, starting on April 23rd. And it's going to feature a bunch of new stuff, including new villagers like Leaf and Red. We have a museum expansion coming, and then they announced several upcoming events, including Nature Day, International Museum Day, and Wedding Season. So we're going to dive into all of this and figure out exactly what's going on here and what we think of it all. So I guess let's get our just initial reactions. Steve, since you did the review, obviously, what's your impression so far of this update in general?
I'm really excited for it. As you know, Andre, we were just talking about what we wanted to see come to the game like a couple days ago.
Yesterday.
And yeah, oh right, yesterday. Wow, time flies. But
especially when you record things in advance.
Yeah, exactly. And we called out that we wanted museum upgrades, so that's pretty huge. But there is one really cleverly hidden part of this that I can't help but feel is there just for me.
Oh.
In the May Day portion of the trailer, when the villager is running across that little island tour, Rover is in the background.
Oh dear God, that might be its own update.
They should have just called this the Rover update.
They should have.
Now all we need is Froggy Chair, and we'll be complete. We'll be feature complete.
Well, if you can put aside your major Rover bias, how was the rest of the update for you?
One, I can't, and two, it's awesome. Like, I'm really happy to see that Red is back. You can plant bushes now. Leaf comes back, so you can buy new flowers and stuff like that. So it's really cool because a lot of us are kind of hitting that point where we're maxing out what is available in the current iteration of the game. So to see that they're kind of giving us more things to do, more goals, and more things to collect even is really cool. And I'm happy to see that we weren't crazy for thinking there was no purpose to that upstairs in the museum.
Yeah, thank God.
I imagine that's where the art gallery goes, but I don't think they actually showed that.
And this also justifies some of the island dialogue we've been seeing more recently too, involving Red and even other things that aren't included in this update. So, which is interesting. But John, what's your take on this trailer so far?
So we see villagers getting married, right? But what if I want to marry my villagers? Can I do that? Can I marry them?
Like, are you implying like how you can force people to move, you can force people to marry on your island?
And that's what I want. I want to customize everything.
Oh my God! Wow, this reached a next level of I don't know what this is. Some kind of virtual simulation experiment.
Now, John, do you want to marry your villagers to each other, or do you have a villager you want?
No, I want to marry them, Steve.
Oh no!
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a little scary, John. I'm not gonna lie.
So the way they worded it in the trailer is to help arrange anniversary photos. So I'm assuming, plus based on we also saw Reese and Cypress. Is it? Were those the
Cyrus?
Cyrus, thank you. That I'm thinking that we're gonna have people who already chose to get married to their own will coming in for our photos. They have to then help arrange.
That's no fun.
It isn't, right? I'm sorry, John. So how about the rest of it though, John?
It's really cool stuff. So I've been playing Animal Crossing, not quite as religiously as you guys have, but I have hit a point where I sort of feel like I've seen most of what I need to see. So all this stuff coming in is great. Although it was all pretty much data mined very recently, and there's even more stuff in the data mine that's not in this update. And they even got things like Red's location right. They said it'd be on the northern section on the beach of the island, and that's exactly where it is. So there should be even more stuff coming soon. For instance, Brewster, who's not in this trailer.
Right. Yeah. I think there's a few other. I think there might be a couple other things we've seen too that or heard about that haven't appeared yet.
There was another shop. There was the flower shop's in there, so that was in the data mine. There was also museum shop, which I guess is Red. And then there's something else too. I think there might have been a food shop or something like that, or food recipes you can make, which aren't present yet.
Huh, yeah, I wonder if that could be tied into the Brewster experience, or the Roost experience, where it's more of a cafe. I guess there's always been a cafe, but, go all in on that. So, Steve, you have your Rover hype. I've got our secret beach hype. There's actually a use for it now, with Jolly Red now coming through on his treasure trawler, it seems. And, yeah, as like in past games, it looks like they'll be selling things like art and statues, which ties into the new museum upgrade. But it looks like he'll also be selling various knickknacks as well. which is neat. So yeah, I love that we're finally getting a museum upgrade. That's a big thing for me, is this is going to add a lot of more things for people to look for. And as you were touching on, John, this all comes at a really good time. I think if you've been playing the game daily like I have, we started reaching a cap. Like I think we're all, for the most part, on the verge, maybe even today, of unlocking the final Nook's Cranny upgrade. Which means that's it. There's really no other big things to come until now. So this really is coming at the perfect time, unlike the Mario Maker 2 update, which is a year late. And yeah, I'm excited. Like, this looks cool. You know, I like having more stuff to do. I like that, again, the timing's great. The only weird thing is the timing is just a little bit odd with the museum upgrade. It's not that odd, but it's going to be a little bit uneven or unbalanced with how, for most of us, I think, our fossils, fish, and bugs are going to be mostly complete. But, you know, whereas now the art section clearly won't be. But, you know, whatever. That's still a whole new thing to play with. So I'm excited for it.
I don't want to be that guy who keeps focusing on the wedding portion, but I like this sort of like happy home designer elements where you're moving around all the furniture. It kind of gives more purpose to Harvey's Island, which I'm not really using at the moment.
I went once.
Exactly. I went once too, and I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. But this turns it a bit more into a mini game, I guess. So that's kind of more exciting.
Well, and speaking of minigames, it looks like as part of the Nature Day update, we're getting a new Mayday Island tour, which seems to be minigame based. Like, it looked like the villager was exploring an island or something where there were different a maze where there were different rewards depending on which path they took. Maybe I'm misreading that, but that was my take of it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I saw it too. You know, they don't show a ton of it in the trailer,
Right.
but you do see that it's kind of, you're just going through this maze. It does seem like there's some reward at the end. You can see in one of the screenshots that there's like these holes placed throughout the thing, which are clearly, you could jump them if you want, because they're just one square. But I see like a tree branch on the end of one. It's hard to tell, but yeah, I imagine there's some kind of prize at the end for...
The prize is Rover.
The prize is Rover. I'll do it as many times as it takes.
He's gonna go broke trying to get Rover.
I'm not leaving without him. No Rover left behind.
So one thing we haven't really touched on explicitly, guys, is bushes, bush hype. We can get bushes now from Leaf. And I think it's going to be a great way to decorate the island. I've seen a lot of people actually really excited for this. And I think it's going to just, help make islands even more unique and lovely in a general sense.
Yeah, that's another Datamine thing. That's also stuff that you could have known about for a little while. But there's a great instance in the trailer where they show basically a custom-made maze on the island. That's a super cool use of bushes. And I can imagine people like making like an Alice in Wonderland style maze or recreating these other kind of things with them, with those tools. That's going to be really fun.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a really cool addition. I'm curious. So yeah, I'm excited to see what I can do with these. I'm still in the middle of redesigning my island, so now I think I'm going to have to rework it to incorporate these. But like you said, John, it wasn't the Datamine. I'm curious if we'll see vegetables at all, because that was also in the same Datamine. I don't think so, though. I think they would have announced something like that, because it feels like it probably ties into that larger cooking mechanic you mentioned earlier.
Right, yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but did prior games have more fruit and vegetables?
More fruit. You had perfect fruit, which doesn't seem to be a thing in New Horizons. But I think you had the same variety of fruit. Vegetables, I'm a little iffy on. I don't quite remember.
Because like part of New Horizons is, while it's a great game, it is kind of lacking some stuff that prior Animal Crossing games had, and this is just kind of adding it back in. There's lots of elements here which were in New Leaf, but this is the first time we're getting them in New Horizons, so it's kind of making it feel a bit more complete. And there's still stuff we're lacking, like gyroids, which are also in the Datamine, aren't in this update yet. So it definitely feels like they're kind of rolling stuff out in the meantime. So I would expect maybe, this is the April update, so I guess maybe in May or June we'll probably get another batch of stuff just making New Horizons more of a complete Animal Crossing game.
That's a good one, actually. Well, so the events they announced in this trailer, though, go up through June. So I'm thinking we won't see another update till July, and it's just called the April update because that's the month it came out in. But I think this does cover the period of April through June. Because the wedding season is the entire month of June. Look at you, John. You get a whole month for it.
Goody me.
So yeah, I'm not expecting the next update immediately, but I do expect there to be bigger things. Although, real quick, speaking of updates, one interesting thing, or I think one kind of interesting thing, is that none of these updates really are, I don't know if permanent's the right word, but I guess like none of them make a permanent impact on the island, minus the actual museum expansion. Because even Leaf and Jolly Red are both travelers. It seems they'll both come. At least that's the way it appears. They'll like both occasionally visit your island. I don't think Reds is gonna park at your beach constantly. So, which isn't. I mean, that's similar to how Red worked in past games. But in Leaf's case, I think that's a change because didn't Leaf have an actual store in New Leaf?
I think he starts out possibly in his traditional like tent, and then eventually gets a store. I could be wrong with that.
Wouldn't that be interesting? Actually, they did go the Able Sisters route with this, where they start off as a merchant before getting their own store eventually.
I think that would make sense. Make your island a bit more permanent. Because right now, the only stores we have are the Able Sisters and Nook's Cranny, which is kind of small. You can't really make a shopping district in this. And there was a line of dialogue that Isabel said, referencing multiple shops, which is kind of impossible right now. So that'd be a cool way just to kind of beef up how many shops you can have on your island.
Yeah, agreed. I would like to see more shops. I initially thought Kix would have his own shop. And I'm kind of surprised he didn't, because yeah, it feels like just having Nook's Cranny and Able Sisters is not enough variety. I'm a little surprised that we don't have other options on the island to do stuff. So it would be cool if Crazy Red got his own.
That'd be wild. Yeah. I wonder. Yeah, I think the whole thing with Red though. Well, I mean they could easily change it, but Red's always been the traveler, right? And it kind of makes sense with him collecting these wares from all around the world, so it might be a little, I guess they could import things, so yeah, they can make it work.
To focus on Red as well, there's a point in the trailer where you're sort of zooming in on a piece of art. Are we identifying if that's fake art? Because if we can, that'd be really cool in HD, because you can catch all these details to make sure if it's the real deal or not.
Yeah, that was originally how you did it. You just had to visually identify if it looked fake or real. I remember sitting up with like with a Google tab open, like Googling famous pieces of art, trying to figure out if Red was trying to hawk me a fake. So,
yeah, but some of them are pretty convincing, or most of them are pretty convincing.
Yeah. There were very few that were just obviously fake. And so it'll be really cool in HD because, yeah, there will be more detail. I mean, you can see the piece of art in the trailer looks really detailed. So it'll be interesting to try to spot the fakes. It might even make for a fun game.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of appreciate this. Like, they're replicating art and sort of sculptures in-game. And that must be quite hard to take on, because you're going from like rather simplistic art styles, like these bushes. They look good, but they're artistically good. Whereas these sculptures are actual sculptures. them developing them must have like been quite an undertaking.
Exactly. No, I think it adds an interesting new wrinkle to the game. And again, I think the timing really is just perfect for this stuff. As a lot of us are reaching the natural limit of what we can do. One other thing I want to touch on real quick are the events in general. We saw 3 of them. We saw Nature Day, which we were running from May 1st to May 7th, which seems to be in which you can acquire special Nook Miles. We have International Museum Day from May 5th to, or I'm sorry, May 18th to the 31st, where it looks like you can fill up, you can achieve, the goal is to like clear certain achievements by visiting stamp kiosks in the museum. And one example we saw was like, I think, filling certain tanks with fish. And then also, and then of course we have the wedding season where it seems like you're helping take wedding photos. These are all very different to the Easter Island, or to the Easter event we've already had, thank God. So what's your guys' early take on these? I know we don't have a great idea of how exactly this will all work, but what's your early impressions? Like, do you think they're going the right direction now for events, or we're hoping for something more?
Yeah, I mean, these aren't obtrusive. That's the most I can hope for. Easter just completely ruined Animal Crossing for me. Whereas this seems optional, and I love that. It's just something that's a bit extra rather than sort of overtaking the entire experience.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with John on this one. Easter was a big, like, in-your-face kind of thing. You couldn't fish, you couldn't dig, you couldn't even chop wood without, getting beaten over the head with eggs. So I'm really happy that these events seem more like an optional activity that you can take part in if you feel like it, not if you don't. We'll have to wait to see how it plays out, but even just from the short bits of footage we saw, it definitely seems a lot more low-key, which I think is really what works for this game.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You want something that's not horribly intrusive. And I didn't like it for Bunny Day where they're running for nearly 2 weeks, but I do think I like it here. Like with what we've seen so far, as long as they're not getting in the way, I do like that these do cover some span of time and do help make the gameplay feel different for a longer period than the events did in the original game, which I'm still not fully sure how I feel about. But I do like the direction they're going in more than we did with Easter Day. So hopefully Nintendo's figured it out. Hopefully these are more fun. And yeah, the idea of having like and I do like the idea of like getting the museum in on it too, because the museum has largely, historically, always been a completely self-contained thing. You've got the museum, beyond making the donations to it, but like it never really interfaces with anything else that I can recall from. And now we have like villagers taking tours through it. It ties in the Nook Miles program, and now it gets its own day, which is actually a 2-week period basically, to celebrate it, which I think is neat.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really cool that we kind of, the museum is being incorporated in an event in a way. It definitely feels like more of a part of your island or your community than previous museums have. Because like you said, you never really saw other villagers or anything checking out what you've donated to the museum. It seemed to be a building that existed only for you in previous games.
Right.
So it's really cool that they're making it more of a community centerpiece in this game.
Very sad museum, a very ignorant island or very ignorant town I lived in before that didn't appreciate any of the art or anything else I would track down.
Somebody's a bit salty about their museum.
This museum, by the way, is getting ridiculously huge. Like, this thing's already insanely big, like far bigger than the actual like exterior footprint would imply, and now we're getting a whole like additional floor to it. I'm gonna need a map to get through this thing.
Yeah, it is getting really large. I'm curious to see how many sections, because like the fossil section and the bug section each have multiple subsections to them. I'm curious if we'll see the same with the art gallery.
Yeah, it'll probably be, at the least I think it might be statues and pictures, perhaps.
Yeah, I think in the trailer we actually see you sort of going from an art gallery section, then you go down some little stairs, but you're staying in the same portion, and down the stairs are the sculptures. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they split this up. Are you expecting the art to be as extensive as like fish and fossils and everything else like that? Or will this be sort of smaller, considering that Red only comes along every now and then?
So I'm expecting it not to maybe be as large, but close enough.
Do you think we're gonna get any other museum expansions, or is this it? Is this the final one? Does this kind of bring up the parity with previous installments?
I don't want to keep falling back on the Datamine, but it says there's 2 more expansions.
OMG.
So I don't know what else they're going to add to this, because we've got fossils, we've got bugs, we've got fishes, now we've got sculptures and art. What comes after that?
Well, Brewster was originally in the museum. Like his coffee shop was part of the museum.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I'm wondering
Right.
if maybe he isn't one of those 2 upgrades.
Good point. All right, yeah. Well, hey, that's something to look forward to. Maybe we'll see. So is there anything else about this update, everyone, that you'd like to get out there? Anything else you're excited for in particular, or yeah?
I mean, not to take Steve's thunder on Rover, but it is exciting that more villagers are coming back through these updates, and maybe we'll get to the point where New Horizons just has like the majority of villagers from the entire series.
That'd be nice. I think we're gonna keep seeing updates similar of this nature. We're gonna see new visitors. We're gonna see obviously new events. We're gonna have like a giant rolling array of characters now, where it's gonna feel like I feel like someone's gonna be there every day. It almost seems like at this point, with how much is going on.
Yeah, I mean, we got Zipper T Bunny back, which he could have stayed away, but well.
Yeah.
And then we have Leaf coming back with this update. So there will, it stands to reason that every major holiday will get one of those old visitors that isn't currently in the game coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So, and maybe they'll bring a swath of new villagers with them, as Leaf appears to be doing.
Right. So do you guys have any final hopes for what we may be seeing next? What are you hoping for in what could come in perhaps a July update? We already touched on it a little bit, I think, but what are your personal hopes and expectations?
Oh boy, that's tough, because I feel like we're getting a lot. I want to see swimming and diving come back in a
that's a
July
good one.
update.
Yeah, diving was another one that was Datamine, so that's probably happening. But yeah, I mean that'd be super cool. That was a new Leaf as well, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So it wouldn't be brand new to the series, but it definitely adds a bit more flexibility to what you can do. And I believe they said like the fish that you can get while diving is different to what you can get while fishing. And right now, I am sick of just finding the same fish over and over again. So that would definitely make that a bit more varied.
Yeah, that would be nice. I'm definitely hitting that same wall along with you, John. It's pretty much all sea bass all the time. I got a tuna for the first time yesterday, and I was just excited that I found a new fish. I hadn't found one.
Yeah, there's something fishy about finding new
weeks.
fish. What if they added fish recipes? We're gonna just cook up all these extra fish and make some food with them.
Like, especially if you feed that to like an octopus villager.
Oh god. Oh, dear.
But yeah, I'm excited to see a potential cooking mechanic show up in Animal Crossing. That would be really cool. I wonder what the benefits would be. Like in kind of the context of Animal Crossing, I can't think of what cooking would enable you to do.
Yeah, that's a good one. What purpose would that fill? Like, I guess you could use them as gifts for people. You'd have a recipe book, I'm sure, where you could, unlock stuff. Maybe they can give you special benefits, like eating food. You can like eat a cooked meal. Maybe you get more benefits from it than eating just a single cherry, for instance.
I guess you can just sell them as well. Like maybe some meals are worth a lot more than others.
That's true. Might just be a good way to make bells.
Yeah, I mean, what if you get like a part-time job at Brewster's Cafe? What if you could be its chef? Like, that could be a fun little thing. You got orders coming in, you got to help out in the kitchen. So, and speaking of which, that's the thing I'm actually most excited for, or the thing I want most, is I want Brewster. Because the biggest problem with Animal Crossing, or maybe not the biggest, a problem with Animal Crossing New Horizons, is that after 10 p.m., there's not much to do. All the island stores shut down. Your villagers start going to sleep, and you maybe have like one unique visitor, that could come after that point in time. So I'm looking forward to having something that's open later at night, where you have something to go to and something people gravitate to in your village. Where you can, see people after hours, see what they're like, when they're not, well, just lazily lying around doing nothing.
So you can watch them sit around in chairs doing nothing.
Yep, exactly. Alright, well, I think we've reached the end of our Animal Crossing discussion then, and thank you so much for watching. If you liked our discussion, make sure to click the subscribe button for tons more on Animal Crossing New Horizons, including our daily streams, which is going to be happening probably as this video goes up. Alright, with that, everyone, we'll catch you later. Bye.
Now.